Thanks for tuning in to Know Wine in No Time. I'm your host Dave, and today we're talking about a very specific wine called Vouvray. So Vouvray is a wine that's crafted in the central part of the Loire River in an AOC called Touraine. Now AOC means Appellation d'Origine Contrôlée, and it's France's highest expression of quality. So when we look at the actual town of Vouvray, it's solidly on the edge of the Loire River, directly across from a place called Montlouis-sur-Loire. And these two areas are vitally important because they're epicenters for that region's most popular and most important grape called Chenin Blanc. So Chenin Blanc is a grape that actually has great complexity and is really influenced by the hand of the winemaker itself. So in this particular area of Vouvray, in descending order of less sweetness, in other words, in descending order of dryness, we have a wine style called Doux, one called Mulot, one called demi-sec or semi-dry, and then finally sec. Now to me, sec is the most intriguing of this particular category of wine, because in the dry version of Chenin Blanc, it's often been termed the thinking person's white wine. So let me explain that. When we think about having a Chardonnay, we know exactly what's going to come out. A very full-bodied, high-glycerin, kind of creamy sort of wine. If we're popping a Sauvignon Blanc, we know that it's going to have those raging citrus and acidic flavors that we've come to love because it's very refreshing. But when we look at Chenin Blanc, whether it's in a doux or sweet style, Merlot, a little bit less sweet, demi-sec, semi-dry, or sec, which is dry, we know that that wine is going to change. When we get all the way to sec, by wine laws, it must have less than 0.8% residual sugar. That equates to 8 grams per liter, so very, very low. Now also in this particular area, the wines are influenced by the soil, which is really quite intriguing. In this particular area, we have a very specific soil named tuffeau. And tuffeau is actually white chalk with pockets of clay, gravel, and shale. So when we look at the tuffeau, the white chalk will give this particular wine minerality. The gravel and shale will allow the roots to remain dry because the soil itself will drain quite a bit. So I wanted to introduce you to a Vouvray sec, which I think you'll find quite intriguing. This particular Vouvray sec comes to us from Bougier, is the actual family that produces it. And if we go ahead and take a look at it, the first thing we'll notice that it's very straw yellow and clear in its presentation. If we swirl to liberate some of the aromas, we get a very floral bouquet coming off here. Something in between lilac and a little bit of lily and almost hyacinth. And then it kind of fades into more yellowy fruits, think apples. Let's go ahead and pass it right down the palate. This particular Vouvray really does not disappoint. It is exactly what we had said earlier. It's the thinking person's white wine. This one enters the palate, and right on the front side of the palate, even though this is a sec with 8 grams, really just really small grains, 8 grams per liter or less, it hits the front side of the palate with an immediate honey and honeysuckle flavor that quickly fades into dried apricot and a little bit of yellow delicious apple. As it rolls across the back side of the palate, that kind of raging minerality, somewhere between wet stone and curing cement, comes to bear on the palate. And then it kind of slowly has a very long finish that really compiles all those together. So Chenin Blanc is quite interesting in that it pairs with a wide variety of foods. Because it is so complex, We could have it with everything from sausages to chicken to actually lighter pork dishes. Really quite flexible. So I'm going to enjoy a little bit more of this Vouvray sec, and I ask you to come back next time, because soon you'll know wine in no time.